Hey, Jeremy. This is Bill
Hey, hey,
Beckman with the College Adventure Program. What's going on, brother?
just burning up in Louisville, Kentucky.
Yeah, what have you been up to since we got back from the adventure Guatemala?
Actually, been, I don't know, but I was kind of sick for a while as soon as I got back and kind of had a cold, cough, but it seems like everyone got that. I don't know if we got it from the lava from the
Yeah, I got it
volcano
as
or
well.
I know.
Or we can blame it on Will if we want.
Blame it on Will.
So,
It is. It was Will's. He caused us to have it. So I feel like I've been kind of in that kind of funk for a bit and was really thankful for the trip. I felt like it was really meaningful for everyone that participated, all of the students and the adult volunteers and the leaders, and just the whole thing was an amazing trip. And really, on those trips, it seems like it kind of ends too early. Kind of like you wanted a
yeah, I
few
think
more
so too.
days,
We really
few
had a good team.
few more days to go deeper. It's been cool seeing the students once we got back and seeing that they're still connecting with each other, going to like birthday parties, and that there is a relationship that's been formed on a deeper level, not just a trip.
Right?
So that's been cool to see. So
That's
how
cool.
about you?
Yeah, I've been working on just trying to get the text messages going so that we can eventually get to a Facebook groups
Mm.
account or something like that to then kind of become that next step after the college adventure program. Because you and I, whenever we went on those Teen Mania missions trips back when we became friends, it seemed to me like there was a missing step whenever we came back home where you kind of just were kind of left hanging. And
Yeah.
so I'm trying to get that ball rolling and also get some trip pictures out and stuff like that. So, and of course, I've been hiking back from Guatemala. That has been a chore.
No,
Yeah.
I saw that. That was a surprise. I was like, I thought he flew
Yeah.
back, but seeing
No, no,
those texts, I'm
I'm
like,
still not all the way
maybe.
there. This is actually not in the U.S. It's actually
Are
a
you at
room
like
in
a roadside
Guatemala.
stop? Huh.
Yeah, I got it. They had Wi-Fi, and so yeah, I've got a few more videos and a lot longer to walk. So, but I actually walked. You're not gonna believe this. I walked 7.5 miles yesterday
Oh, congrats!
up
Awesome.
a mountain. By the way, it was almost like the ones that we went on. So, I did
That's
not shoot
good.
any
That's
videos because I was hurting so bad. So I decided not to shoot any videos. But other than that,
be like,
so
I think, yeah, for me, my mind just keeps going back to how to have, on a mission trip, you have a focus, you have a start date and an end date. You're living together in community, you're eating in community, you're all focused on really a one task thing, and it feels like when you get back home, there definitely is not that focus of, hey, we're all in this. But then when I think about our relationship with God, is that we really do have it laid out there that God's like, hey, two by two, go out there. You got your community, your church community. You're not in this thing alone. But I feel like in the life we live, it's like everyone is just doing their own little thing. And it just seems like that's not how God designed us. But I feel like when we're on the trip, it feels to me that it's like, man, this is the way God designed us to be. And then we come home, this is the way God designed us to be, but it seems like there's a disconnect. I don't know if I'm making sense.
now actually I agree with you. At the end of the day, the trip's great and everything, but what we're trying to do is build lasting relationships.
Mm,
And like you said, I was actually thinking the same thing about two by two, like just you and I connecting. It's God sending out people two by two, right? And then
yeah.
also, I mean, he also had the disciples in a group, right? So it wasn't just two, but it could be a larger community. So
Mm.
Jesus, what did he do? He created a community as well. And I think that that's kind of what's been missing sometimes when you go on some of these trips and adventures and stuff like that. And I would like to take the focus on because people are hurting when they go home. I remember some girls when we were on Teen Mania mission trips back in the day. And one girl, she ended up getting pregnant because she wasn't hanging out with the right people and her boyfriend and everything. And I was like, If she had a community that would have like kept in contact with her, she probably wouldn't have made those choices that she made. And not that God isn't with her right now. And at the same time, why not build a community of leader adventurers and then be able to lean on them instead of when you're feeling alone and making bad decisions with your life? So I think that that's what my heart, whenever we're doing this, is to really have a focus on when you come home more so almost than the trip.
Well, yeah, and I think that when I think back on my education and going through Teen Mania, yeah, we wanted and desired community. I wasn't really using probably those terms, or I wasn't saying it like that
Correct.
when I was
Yeah.
going through college, but the desire to find your people and the education is kind of a means to find your people. But I just feel like right now with teenagers, it's like everyone, it's like, are your people your volleyball team or your dance team? Is it the Boy Scout troop that you are committed to, or the Girl Scout troop? Is it your youth group? Is it your family? I mean, I feel like there's like this smorgasbord of just all these places you can connect, but you don't fully connect there because you got something else you're connected to. So then it goes back to like online, like social media stuff. It's like, oh, I have 1,000 friends. Not really. They're
Right. Just
they're in my
acquaintances or less.
acquaintance, but who is really my friend? Who's really like these people I journey with? It kind of really feels like we're in this chasm of like, oh, I want that, but then when we get back to real life, we don't implement it. We don't
Right.
follow through and just say, hey. And so that's when I think back to the college adventure. It's like, man, if we could just have, hey, this is an opportunity for you to find your people and you can get education at the same time. There's, because I think it goes back to, we've had these conversations about, oh, take a gap year. And that's that intentional idea of like, oh, I got to take a gap from what I want to do, which is nothing wrong with it. But what if you want to do a gap year and still do it at the same time? Like there's this
Exactly.
multiple kind of tracks you can take. And then the other thing too is just the world being so accessible more than ever before. And so that idea of like, oh, if you can do school anywhere, you can do work anywhere. If you're going to do remote work in this world that we live in, then why not be and live at a place where I'm growing to learn about whatever plants, or I'm learning about this community of surfers, that live in Portugal,
Right.
or a small fishing village in Thailand, where I'm able to learn something hands on and experiential. But then the educational piece is, I don't know, I guess it's that whole idea of putting community center, and then it's like, well, where do we want to be community? Or another way, I've been, thinking about it this week from the message that we had on Sunday was about abiding, and about this book I'm reading, and about how you abide, like you and I right now, God's abiding with us as we do this podcast,
Yes.
or he abided with you, Bill, on that 7 mile hike, or
Right.
he's abiding with me as I go take medicine to my parents, help with their medicine and things like that. And so I think that abiding thing, and just like we bring Jesus wherever we go, is how God designed us. But then as humans, how we're like that Paul that looks in the mirror and forgets who they are, and we can fall right back into this rut so easily
Right.
that it's so ingrained in us. So I guess for me is that, how do we take the going back to that commitment, that community, and how do we live it back at home? Because like it seems like
Right.
people that say, "Hey, I want to be a part of a commune. Like I want to pool all my resources. I want to come together." People will look at that and say, "Oh, that's dumb. Like that's not smart. Why would you do that?" You know what I mean? But
Right.
then in many ways, what we were living in Guatemala is really a community. We've pulled all of resources together for that one week. We're sharing places where we live. We're eating food communally.
Well, you know what? I was thinking about it. I was like, okay, so what's the missing element in a lot of people's lives? You go back to your video games, you go back to your computer, you go back to your phone, you get whatever social media that you're following every day or in whatever routine you follow, and you end up isolating yourself, right?
Yeah.
And so you're the community there, and actually I would challenge even some of the guys on our team is to see like this community that we're building is a platform to minister to their friends, to
Yeah.
to keep in touch with their friends and make sure, just like we were in community and kind of challenging each other in Guatemala, that we could actually do the same thing and just show that you care actually
Mhm.
here in the US. And I think that's what's missing. And I think a lot of people go home and they get lonely. They're looking for friends again, different friends than what was on there when we got really high quality people
Mhm.
that were on that trip. And why not keep it going? Right? Why not bring other people into the community that would like to serve and give and do adventures and travel? And then you and I and Will and some of the other adults that are going to be on the trips with us that will give guidance, be able to start talking about roadmaps on what the kids should be doing for their lives and the students should be doing. And I think to me, that's why I want to see involvement. I look at this not as because you and I could hang out and not be doing this, right? But I really want to provide a avenue for people to build what's it say on your website? Deep, diverse relationships,
Deep,
right?
diverse, and generous. Deep, diverse, and
Yes,
generous community or relationships. Yeah.
yes, yes. So that's what we're looking for. And I think that as we continue doing this, and there'll probably be some trials and errors on everything, but our goal is to just become literally a friendship community where we're helping each other through our hard times, right? That you'll have somebody to call that's going to listen to you and actually care. So,
And how does it, and Bill, how do you, so thinking about how, like, creating a nurturing environment for people, young people, any age really, that cultivates this, I want to go deeper. I want to have that deep relationship. I want to get people around me that aren't the same and it really be generous. That whole flow, how do you, like, I'm thinking about the farmer where you have these different seasons. And if you go in the harvest season and you're trying to plant, it doesn't work. So then,
right.
really thinking about with nurturing this community, if you don't have a good foundation, then nothing really grows out of it. So how do you cultivate
Well,
that?
I think that you do it on these, like whenever we built the house, right?
Yeah,
You're giving of yourself. Whenever you give of yourself, then you're building something.
yeah,
Whenever you go and make a call to that friend of yours, that's actually planting a seed, right? If you're going out and hanging out with good friends that are not going to be a drag on you and developing good relationships, you're actually planting seeds in their lives at the same times that they're planting seeds in yours, right? So I know this that when you and I hang out, we have a different level on what we're talking about because we have some shared experiences that have really shaped us. And I think that's what we're trying to build in this community the same way.
what that's what I'm saying. It's like if you cultivate and have that deep relationship, obviously, like with marriage with your wife, you cultivate, you have a relationship that's ongoing. You've made a commitment, that marriage is within that commitment. And with husbands and wives, yeah, you grow. Hopefully, you just can keep it growing in a positive way. Sometimes it's negative, positive, but you have the foundation laid where you can grow something on top. And I guess my
Yes.
question is just, as we have young people come on adventures, there's got to be a bridge to go because it's not like we're just thrill seekers. It's not like, oh, what we do is we go, whatever, we go skydiving on the weekends. It's the adrenaline that keeps us together. But for us, we're saying, yeah, you can have adventure, but having God at the center and then relationships, and then community. Because it goes back for me, it's like if you have the right community and relationship, it really doesn't matter what you're doing. It's not a context of like, it's more like, when you're with friends, you're like, hey, let's go hang out. What do you want to do? Where do you want to eat? Oh, I don't care. Where do because it's not
Right.
about the location. It's not about, it's just being together. And
Exactly.
so, and I think that's what I see with the young people is they want that, hey, I want these to be my people. And I think there's a lot of young people, teenagers out there that don't know what they want. They don't know what they want to do. They don't want to be a doctor or engineer or computer analyst, and they're just like, I have no idea what I want to do. And so this could be an opportunity to say, hey, there's actually hundreds of other young people your age in the exact same spot globally.
Yeah, that is actually the focus of this ministry, right?
Yeah,
Both
yeah, the
you and I are
global.
trying to train people to have community, but in addition to that, to have a focus with their lives and to
Yeah,
find out what God's plan is for their lives, right? And so it's a matter of just finding out your giftings along with, God does give us the desires of our heart. And even if you go down and don't know, I think our focus, almost like our motto, should be everybody who doesn't know what they're doing with their lives, come with us, and we'll start down a path of discovery, a journey of discovery, and figure out where you're supposed to be
yeah,
together as
yeah.
we help each other try to find that,
And
right?
that you don't have to be alone by yourself in it. That you have other people that really are feeling the same exact way you're feeling, and it's having
Yeah,
that support group type of mentality where it's just like let's struggle together. And also, while we're struggling, we have our plan, but also we have people that we can serve and come alongside and love them
exactly.
where they're at in our own struggle. I think that's that whole mentality of like struggle and also grow where you're planted, where it's like, hey, you can't just get out of where God's called you to be. You got to put some roots down and do the work. Um, but,
Well,
but
you know what I think?
yeah,
I think that if you just keep moving, keep planting is what basically a better word for it.
yeah,
If you start planting and all of a sudden, like I remember when I was getting out of college, right? I had 10 different ideas going in 10 different directions, right? So I just wrote them all down and I started doing them. And then I did the first one and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm horrible at that. And I crossed it off the list and moved to the second one. I just did it based on what I liked, And I
yeah.
think when
It's
on that
good.
same journey, if you did it together instead of by yourself, where you're feeling like, a lot of times when you're doing it by yourself, you just stop and don't do anything,
Hmm.
right? So the goal at some point is as we build this community, as I'm sending out text messages and funny videos right now, but actually the goal is to hand it off to everybody who's in our group, the community. So it's not you and I may lead that community, but at the same time, we're just going to hand it off, and they're going to be helping each other
Yeah.
through their journey, right? Just like we did. So
Yeah, and I think that's the other thing too is thinking about with college. When I look back on it, it's like also how do we create a community that it's a continuum? Yeah, it's seasonal connection, but like how do we have something where you and I went to the same college, but it took us years later to connect down the road. But it's like that. I guess it goes back to that foundation. How do you create a foundation that's so rich and so connected? You're never disconnected. You always have something that you can jump from,
well, and that's why
whatever
I
it
think
is.
that, like right now, I'm sending out leadership quotes
Yeah,
or mentor quotes or whatever, trying to be like, okay, let's continuously put positive things in front of each other, be a blessing to our friends, right? To all the people that were on the trip, and just to keep doing that, and then hopefully this will take fire and everybody. So, like my envision, this is when we have a community and we're sitting there talking, texting each other or whatever, communicating with each other, that we
right here.
actually,
Yeah, right now. All right, hold on for a sec.
okay,
Potentially, yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. All right, thanks, man. Thanks for the invite. Goes Pastor Ben. Then they're having a game
and
night tonight. I think Josh is going to that. So,
Right. Is that the church that he's one of the youth
Josh,
leaders
yeah,
of?
yeah.
Okay.
Josh is the youth leader, and Ben's the pastor, and they're doing like a game night tonight. My
Yeah, no,
God.
I'm just sitting there saying we need to learn somehow this needs to be transitioned over to people sharing, what did God do in their lives,
Yeah.
right?
No, no.
After the trip,
Yeah.
right? Or hey, Jeremy, you read a book, right? What did you get anything out of it?
Yeah.
Right? And then as we're doing that, we add your activities that you're doing, your adventures that we're doing, a plan. We'll give them good counseling on a plan. I've been checking out some personality tests that might be applicable to what we're doing. So, anyway, that's kind of where I see this thing headed. I don't know if
Sounds
you've got
great,
any
dude.
other.
I'm in. I
So,
think at all
yes.
different. Just in high school, like I was talking with Josh, he was saying that he actually just got a new job. I think where he's going to be a plumber, and that's where he wanted to go
Oh,
towards.
cool.
So he had to
Right.
kind of leave one thing, and he's going to another. So he's taking that risk
Oh,
of,
so you end up getting
uh,
yeah,
yeah. Just he just texted me last
cool.
night, and
Nice.
so being
Well, that's
able
what I'm
to
talking about.
yeah, exactly. So even have
Exactly
him
what they
come
were
share
talking about.
and say,
Yeah.
hey, how's it going? How you like working your plan and working what God's called you to do is going to look many different ways because everyone's different. And I think that's another thing that I like about this is that everyone in this community can have their own plan. What is, versus
Exactly.
like, this is the only plan. You got to do this. Yeah, the plan of Jesus, go ye into all the world. Yes, that's our plan. But the way it's going to look out for all of us will be different. So,
Well, and here's the thing, man. A lot of times you don't figure out what you want to do for several
mm,
years, right?
mm,
But what we'll do is give you the foundation of like, okay, once you've figured that out, and if you journey with us together, we'll give you ideas on that you can actually come up with one instead of sitting there hopeless and say, I have no idea. I have no idea. You
yeah,
could be saying that. I've got a friend who's been saying that for 20 years now. He still doesn't
mm,
have any idea, right?
mm,
So building this community is going to be one that we help each other find that way, and we just keep
yeah,
moving forward together. So,
yeah. And
but
yeah, I
it's
look
all
forward.
for people that don't know what they're doing in life. That's perfectly exactly what we're targeting, actually.
And I think as we communicate with people, we're going to realize that discovery process, ideally, you're going to say, oh, that discovery happens between 15 and 18 years old. But sometimes that discovery process is going into their 30s. You know what I mean? It goes
Oh,
good to older
exactly.
people as well. And going, what? Or maybe it changes. Maybe it's like, oh, I knew what I was doing, but now that it's switched up a little bit. And I think that I don't know. I guess it goes back to that idea of like, and then going back to the travel and seeing the world that we live in, of just how much of an eye opener that is. When you go
Oh,
see another
absolutely.
another place that you've never been to in community, centered on Christ, it's like life change and transformation is it's baked in. It's baked into the process. That's how God designed it. So, well, dude, hey, let me know the next mountain you're going to go to. It sounds like every day you're doing some type of
Believe
long
it or
walk.
not, my wife just so there's this thing called the incline here, which is a
Okay.
bear in Colorado Springs.
Okay.
It's where the railway line that goes
Yes.
up to Pikes Peak.
You're doing that?
So my wife came down yesterday and she was like, "Hey, let's do that this week." And I'm
Come
like, "Wait,
on,
hold on."
bro. Yes. Has
Well,
she done it
if
before?
I she has done it before,
Like I've
so
done
we'll
one
see.
cog. I've done one
Yeah, I
cog.
did. I did one
I
cog,
haven't
but
done.
we're gonna try it again with me.
Okay.
So anyway, and we might actually have one of these groups come out and do it. If I make it
Yes.
and
We'll do
survive,
some.
we'll do some. It's a bear. You got to see some
We'll cog
videos
it
of it.
up,
I'll
bro. No problem.
I'll share some videos of it on the,
It's amazing.
especially
Let's
after
cog
I'm
it up,
done.
bro.
So, well, all right,
Hey,
brother. It
cog
was
it
good
up, bro.
chatting
Love
with
you,
you.
man.
All right, have a
Let the
good one.
adventure continue, man. Love you, dude.
Yeah, yeah, all right, love you too, man. Bye.
Peace.